Don't take much notice of this side of the record. It's the other one that really counts. One's got to fill in both sides somehow. Listen. Bow Bells. You know, I'd never realized until the other day what a terribly historical place London is. I mean, it's been going on for years. I myself was born, bred, and buttered within sound of Bow Bells. Same ones was called Richard Whittington. You know who he was, don't you? The first hiker. Talking about hiking, I heard of a girl who said to a friend the other day, "Let's go out for a hike." And her friend said, "No, thanks, I'm not keen on Jews." Anyway, Richard Whittington, hiked from Lancashire with a cat and got a job as a kitchen boy. Then he started hiking out with a girl called Alice, who was the daughter of a man who was as rich as Croesus, I mean. She happened to be the belle of Bow at the time and very popular. So Dick sold his other cat and married her. Then he became mayor 3 times and got a bigger corporation each time, till one night when Alice said to her husband, "Turn again, Whittington," he couldn't. And that was the end of him. Oh, yes. London's a marvellous place. Only the other day I read of a terrible murder which took place some while ago. Well, really, it was nothing more nor less than infanticide. Or is that a mouthwash? It all happened like this. When Edward the Fourth kicked the bucket, it was holiday time, and his kids were staying in different country houses with pals. The eldest one was now Edward the Fifth, although he didn't know it. He'd been opening a parish bazaar at Ludlow, although he was only 13. When he got the wire about his pater pegging out, he mounted a horse with assistance and started trotting up to town. On the way he was met by his nasty nunky, who was Duke of Gloucester, and who took him from his suite, which is French for pudding, and sent him to the Tower of London. The boy had been awfully keen to see the Tower of London, as of course he'd read about it in books. He wanted to see the zoo, too, and Peter Pan in Kensington Gardens, and Lord Beaverbrook, and all sorts of funny things. However, he didn't like the idea of actually living in the Tower, with beef-eaters and policemen as his only companions, so he wrote to his uncle and asked if he could have his brother on a haircut. Nunky Gloucester sent him his brother, but wouldn't let either of them have a haircut, so they dressed up as 2 little Lord Fauntleroys and went up and down the stairs of the Tower holding hands. So sweet. The wicked old Duke of Gloucester, meanwhile, rather liked being regent and building streets, so he sent a couple of chaps one night to smother the princes and drown them in a butt of marmalade, which was a pretty sticky business. Anyway, they did it all right and buried them there. Years later, Parliament passed the Habeas Corpus Act, which meant that everyone could have their own bodies, which they'd never been able to do before, unless they were cricketers, in which case, of course, Larval could take a chip out of them. Thereupon, somebody said the princes' bodies belonged to the nation, so they unearthed them and put them in Westminster Abbey in order that the tourists shouldn't have so far to go from their West End hotels to see the tomb. But it was an awful crime, wasn't it? I mean, the people of those days hated the Duke for it so much that they wrote all sorts of limericks about Gloucester, and finally, one June the 14th, the Royal Ancient Order of Buffaloes ran him down to Runnymede and made him stand them a Magna Carta, which is Latin for a very large bottle of Chartreuse. Ah, there go the Bow Bells again, or bandy girls, or whatever you like to call them. I think that's a very funny joke.